Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a quiet, deeply moving story that reminds us how the smallest moments can quietly reshape our lives. It's not filled with dramatic arguments or loud revelations. Instead, it's a gentle tale about grief, unspoken love, emotional distance, and the healing power of a single caring gesture. Some knocks on the door aren't just sounds, they are invitations. Invitations to see each other differently, to break through silence, and to rediscover the hidden feelings that have been waiting patiently under the surface. If you love heartfelt family stories that touch on real emotions like loss, loneliness, and quiet reconnect, then stay with me till the end. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss these emotional journeys. Let's begin. Laura Bennett had grown used to the quiet rhythm of her days. The house, once filled with laughter and the busy energy of family life, now carried a softer, more reflective silence. It was the kind of silence that settles in after profound loss, not empty, but heavy with memories. Warm steam rose gently from the sink as Laura stood in the bathroom, staring at her reflection in the foggy mirror. Her thoughts drifted like clouds on a still day, not focused on any particular memory, but simply existing in the present moment where most of her time now passed. She moved through her routines with care, holding everything together as she always had. Then, without warning, came a soft but deliberate knock on the bathroom door. It wasn't loud or impatient. It was respectful, almost hesitant, as if the person on the other side understood the importance of personal space. A short pause followed, and then her son's voice, calm and steady, "Mom." Laura froze for a moment, not out of fear, but from genuine surprise. She hadn't heard the front door open. She hadn't noticed his footsteps in the hallway. Ethan was already home, and she had been so lost in her own world that she missed his arrival entirely. That simple realization brought a quiet ache to her chest. But it was the tone in his voice that truly touched her, gentle, concerned, carrying something deeper than just a casual check-in. "I'll be out in a minute," she replied softly, keeping her voice even while her mind raced with unspoken questions. As she dried her hands and composed herself, Laura thought about how much her son had changed over the years. He was no longer the energetic little boy who used to burst into rooms without a second thought. Loss had shaped him into a quiet, responsible young man who moved through the world with careful steps and even more careful words. When Laura stepped out into the hallway, she found Ethan standing there patiently, holding an old, worn photo album in his hands. The edges were softened by time, the cover faded from years of gentle use. He looked a little uncertain, as if bringing this to her required a quiet kind of courage. "I found this while cleaning out the garage," he said quietly, his eyes meeting hers for a brief moment before looking away. "I thought you might want to see it again." Laura took the album from him, feeling its familiar weight against her chest. A soft wave of emotion rose inside her, a mixture of warmth and lingering sadness. She noticed how tall and grown Ethan looked now, how the boy she once knew had transformed into a thoughtful young man who respected boundaries. He hadn't just walked in or interrupted her. He had knocked. He had waited. That small act spoke volumes about the respect and quiet care he carried for her. Ethan gave a small nod and headed back to his room without another word, leaving Laura standing alone in the hallway. Later that evening, she sat on the living room couch with the album open on her lap. As she slowly turned the pages, old photographs brought back a flood of memories, family vacations filled with laughter, birthday celebrations, quiet moments of everyday joy before grief had changed everything. Smiles from a time when the house felt alive with possibility. Tears welled up gently as she realized how long it had been since anyone had truly checked on her, not just as the strong mother who kept things running, but as a woman who could still feel fragile, lonely, and in need of care herself. That night, as gentle rain tapped softly against the windows, Laura lay in bed unable to sleep. The sound of the knock replayed in her mind again and again. It wasn't dramatic, yet it felt significant. She thought about how both she and Ethan had been living under the same roof while carrying their own separate burdens of grief. They spoke in short exchanges, shared meals in comfortable but distant silence, and avoided opening the deeper wounds that still lingered. She wondered if Ethan was also lying awake, thinking about her. Did he worry about her quiet sadness? Did he feel the same emotional distance she did? The knock, she realized, wasn't just a polite interruption. It was the first small crack in the invisible walls they had both built around their hearts after losing his father. It was a beginning, gentle and full of unspoken hope. In the days that followed, the house continued its quiet routines, but an undercurrent of heaviness remained. Ethan started leaving for his day earlier than usual, his greetings brief and his bedroom door staying closed more often. Laura kept herself busy with household tasks, cooking meals that sometimes went untouched, folding laundry, and tending to the garden. Yet her mind kept returning to that simple knock in the photo album. She felt the growing distance between them, like two ships passing in the fog, close enough to see each other but unsure how to bridge the gap. Ethan, from his side, watched his mother with quiet concern. He saw the way her shoulders carried invisible weight, how her smiles didn't quite reach her eyes anymore. He wanted to say something, to ask how she was really doing, but the words felt stuck. Fear of saying the wrong thing or reopening old pain held him back. So he expressed his care in small, careful ways. The knock, leaving her favorite tea ready, or simply being present without demanding attention. One evening, Laura decided she couldn't let the silence continue any longer. After dinner, she gently invited Ethan to sit with her in the living room. The lights were soft, and the room felt warmer than it had in months. "Ethan, are you okay?" she asked, her voice sincere and open for the first time in a long while. He paused, then nodded slowly. "I'm worried about you, Mom. You've been so quiet lately. You carry everything without ever complaining, and I don't know how to help." Laura felt tears prick at her eyes as she listened. She opened up about her grief, how it hadn't disappeared but had changed shape over time, becoming a quieter companion rather than a sharp pain. She admitted that sometimes silence felt safer than talking about the emptiness. Ethan shared his own fears, how he missed the way things used to be, and how scared he was of losing her emotionally too. He confessed that the knock that day was his awkward way of checking on her, of showing he cared without invading her space. As they talked, the heavy silence that had filled the house began to feel lighter. It transformed from a barrier into a shared, comfortable space where they could simply be together. For the first time in months, they laughed softly at old memories, and the conversation flowed naturally into hopes for the future. In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere in the home gradually shifted. Shared meals became longer and warmer. Laughter returned in small, genuine bursts. Ethan smiled more freely, and Laura felt a renewed sense of lightness. One afternoon, she received a message from Daniel, an old family friend who had reached out after hearing about her loss. She replied, feeling a small but hopeful spark that life could still open up in new, gentle ways. Then came another knock, this time at the front door. Laura opened it to find Daniel standing there with a simple bouquet of flowers. They sat and talked for hours, sharing stories and laughter that felt healing. Ethan watched from a distance, a quiet smile on his face. He saw this not as replacement, but as part of his mother's healing journey. Laura later reflected on how everything had started with that first unexpected knock in the bathroom. It was a small gesture of care that sparked honesty, closeness, and eventually new possibilities. It taught her, and Ethan, that love and connection often reveal themselves not in grand declarations, but in quiet attentiveness, patience, and the courage to reach out even when words are hard to find. The house, once heavy with unspoken feelings, now felt alive again with care, hope, and the gentle rhythm of family healing. What a beautiful reminder that sometimes all it takes is one small knock, one moment of care, to open the door to deeper understanding and renewed bonds. If this story touched you, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever experienced a small gesture that changed your relationship with a family member? Which part resonated with you the most? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this emotional story, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, and remember, sometimes the quietest moments hold the loudest truths.